Hello everyone and welcome back once again in class 7. So as you can see on the screen as well that today we are going to start our chapter number 5, that is part of history, right? So our last chapter of post midterm, that is rulers and buildings, right? So bache, basically what we are going to study into this chapter, before going into the chapter you should be clear with the meanings, that what are the focus points of this chapter. So I'm just taking you to the focus points. Fine, I have made 2 slides for the focus points only. Okay, so before going into the chapter or making you clear all about the chapter, I just wanted to show you that those slides, that what will be the focus points, at what will be the like meanings of some focus words. Fine, then that will be easy for you to understand as well. So let's move to that slide first. Yes, so here you can see one slide with you all. So first point, because why I'm making you all these things very much clear, because it will be very easy for you to understand each and everything related to this. Fine. So here is the first point. Various grand buildings and structures were built by the rulers during that time. Whatever like any building, anything, various kinds of building, grand building, small building, everything, what were those were known as monuments, right? So this is the first focus point which we are going to further summarize or going to study. Okay, second point is, we get an insight into the technology used for construction by seeing the monuments. For example, that what were the constructions during that time, right? As what is basically in this chapter, you can see in your book as well. First we are going to discuss about the engineering skills, that what were the skills of engineer of that particular time. In this second point, it is clear that what were the engineers doing at that time. First kind of monuments when they started making, the a roof can be built by placing wooden beams or a slab of stone across 4 walls. They just used to place the wooden beams, and then onto the top they were just placing the stone slab. Fine, further. And what happens further in the 17th or 10th century? Now third point is, between the 7th and the 10th centuries, architects started adding more rooms because they felt requirement of more rooms, because earlier they were just uh, wrapping up whole of the area just with walls and beams and one slab. Okay, just all the area they just started covering with the बीन्स क्या होते हैं, जो लोग होते हैं ना, वुडन लोग्स होते हैं, दे मे बी द बीन्स एंड सीमेंटेड बीन्स कैन बी देयर. फाइन, दे जस्ट स्टार्टेड मेकिंग दैट, और उसके ऊपर एक स्लैब लगा देते थे. फाइन, दैट मे बी ऑफ स्टोन स्लैब और कंक्रीट स्लैब. देन लेट ऑन व्हाट हैपेंस, they started filling the requirement of more rooms. Fine, then what happens, they started making more rooms, and into that doors also according to requirement, when they started filling the ventilation part as well. Then they started giving windows to those buildings, and roofs and doors and windows were still made by placing a horizontal beam across 2 vertical columns. It was the same pattern, was the same. Fine, what was the pattern of constructing the buildings? They just horizontal क्या होता है, this is the form of horizontal. They just used to place horizontal beams, and onto that vertical columns में वो क्या करते थे, slabs डाल देते थे, and in that kind of rooms they were making. और उस particular pattern को क्या बोलते थे, tablet और corbelled. Clear? The roof and the doors and the windows, whatever constructions they were doing into the 7th and 10th centuries, they just used to place beam in horizontal form, and onto top they just used to make a vertical slab. Okay, so that was the kind of structure which they supposed to make during that time, और उसको क्या बोलते थे structure को, trebet और corbelled. Clear? Next, fourth is, there were 2 technological and stylist developments noticeable from the 12th and 12th century. अब after 12th century they started making in a very innovative ways. Fine, what was that? They starting adding the limestones, है ना, जो limestone होता है वो क्या हार्ड होता है ना, So earlier they were using beams and something else, and later on in the 12th century they started making the limestone and the cements for the constructions part. अब उससे क्या होगा? The construction will be solid, right? Next is in the medieval period, and later on after 12th, in the medieval period, the middle time, kings constructed places of worship for two reasons. You know why kings used to make these temples, and why those temples only were targeted? Whenever there was any war, है ना, जब भी कोई war होता था, कोई युद्ध होता था, why the people used to target only temples first? Because yes, temples were only, and different kinds of monuments were only the gratitude or the power. These were only the monuments which can show the power of the king, that how much prestige that king is, how much powers that particular king has, fine, and how much wealth he is blessed with. So this was the reason. So they started making temples or any place for worship just for two reasons. First was to showcase their wealth, अपने जो कि उसके पास कितना wealth है, what money they have, and devotion to God, and how much devotee they are to the God, है ना, जितना ज़्यादा बड़ा होगा, जितना ज़्यादा like as much as big that temple will be or the place of worship will be, or as much as beautiful that will be, that shows the what? Devotion to the God and the wealth of that particular king, fine. And what was the another reason? दूसरा reason क्या था? To earn the gratitude of the subjects. Subjects कौन होते हैं? जो public होती है ना, those are known as subjects. By building for them areas of use, comfort and need, because each and everyone could go to temple, right? In the medieval period I'm talking about. So king used to make these temples just for the two reasons. First, just to show their devotion to the god, and another reason was just to show their and give comfort level to their subjects, to their public, fine. Then what we are going to see later on, as temples were a depiction of a ruler's power and wealth, so when other kingdoms used to attack another kingdom, they used to destroy the temple, as they ultimately destroy ruler's power, right? Because only with the temples or the worship places, king can show each and everything related to wealth, related to devotion, how much powerful he is, fine. So if anybody has to attack on to another kingdom, firstly they are going to attack only on the temples, remember this, fine. As in this chapter we will be seeing the example of Pandya king Shirimara Shirivallabh invaded Sri Lanka and defeated the Jewel Palace, fine. That was also a place for worship, fine. Then further we are going to study that Babar enjoyed planning the layout of gardens, the Char Bags. Char Bags means 4 gardens, fine. So we are going to study into that gardens and whatsoever is there. Then later on we are going to study the last one is Humayun's tomb. Humayun's tomb was also built into that 8 paradise, that was known as 8 paradise, fine. 8 paradise means 8 rooms, that was surrounded by the 8 rooms. So these are the basic topics which we are going to study further. So let's start this topic with the content, smart content. Why I had made you clear all these points? Because this is the definitely, if you will be clear with the meanings and the main focus points that what we are going to study into this chapter, then definitely the chapter will become easy for you to understand, fine. So let's move with the smart content, okay.
Rulers and buildings. Introduction. India's architectural history is enriched by various monuments built over centuries. These famous buildings and structures represent the culture and heritage of a place and time in history. Over the years, many rulers of India would build these grand structures as a sign of progress and wealth. Come, let us explore their unique architecture.
So as we have already like discussed in the starting, that what was the reason behind that king used to build all the monuments, all these buildings. It is also mentioned here just to show the progress and wealth of a particular area and of a particular king. So let's move further.
Objectives. In this chapter, we shall learn about the following concepts.
See carefully.
1. Meaning of monuments. 2. Engineering skills and construction. 3. Building temples, mosques, and tanks. 4. Reason for the destructions of the temples. 5. Gardens, tombs, and forts. 6. Region and empire.
So, bache, basically we are going to discuss about all these points, and in these points what we are going to discuss I have shared in the starting as well. So see carefully, very easy chapter, fine. Basically what are the objectives and what are we going to discuss into this chapter. First is meaning of monuments. I have already cleared the big buildings, the grand buildings are known as monuments, right? And further, engineering skills and constructions, that in the different centuries different kinds of constructions were started, right? As in the starting we discussed about the horizontal beams and vertical stone slab they used to make that, and further in the 7th and 10th century they changed it, and in the 12th century they started adding upon limestones as well. So this we are going to see further, fine. Then the buildings, temples, mosques and tanks, that what was the reason behind that, why the people used to build temples and mosques and the different tanks, what were the reason behind that, fine. Then further reason for the destruction of the temple, why another kingdom people, if they attack on one particular kingdom, why first they used to destroy the temples, fine. Then gardens, tombs and the forts, and region and empire, that will be the last point. So see carefully.
Let us start our discussion with monuments. Various grand buildings and structures were built by the rulers. These came to be known as monuments.
Fine.
There were two types of structures that were built by rulers, and their craftsmanship earned the status of monuments. Residences of rulers like forts, palaces, gardens which were protected and secure.
So there were basically two kinds of monuments which were built during that time. First one is their forts, their palaces, where the people could sit or where they were safe, fine. If anyone will attack first, definitely they are going to attack on the temples first and the mosques first and different worship places first. So this was the first kind of monument which they supposed to make first. The forts, है ना, forts you understand na, किलास, and the palaces, gardens which were protected and secure.
Public structures like temple, mosques, bazaar, wells, etc. Let us see the specialities of these structures in the next section. Engineering skills and construction. We get
So see, as we have already discussed, I told you, again we are going to study very much easy, that engineering skills and constructions, that what were the types of constructions of different timings about the different centuries, fine. So and further that engineering skills, that during that time also engineers were there who used to build and who used to take care that where the rooms will be there, है ना, and different architectures were also there. So we are going to see the construction by seeing the monuments, so technology of that time.
an insight into the technology used for construction by seeing the monuments. For example, a roof can be built by placing wooden beams or a slab of stone across.
You can see na, these are the wooden beams, है ना, these are the wooden beams on the top also you can see, and these are the vertical slabs onto top also, some wooden beams are there on, है ना. So these are the types of construction during that time.
4 walls. But if we want to make a large room with an elaborate superstructure, it will be a difficult task warranting specialized skills. Between the 7th and 10th centuries, architects started adding more rooms, doors and windows to buildings.
Before that you have seen the types of buildings, they were large halls only, है ना, and now you can see in the 7th and 10th century they just changed it. There were more skills added to the constructions. What were those skills? They started adding more rooms, more doors and more buildings, more windows to the buildings, when they start feeling that there is less ventilation, fine.
Roofs, doors and windows were still made by placing a horizontal beam across 2 vertical columns, a style of architecture called trabeate or corbelled.
We have discussed about this, what are the trabets and what are the corbels. So this is the structure which definitely they started making more rooms, more windows, but the form in which they used to build that was same only. What was that? They used to place horizontal beams across the two vertical columns. Two vertical columns के बीच क्या करते थे? Two columns खड़े किए, उसके ऊपर एक they used to place the horizontal beams के ऊपर vertical places में क्या करते थे? They used to construct anything that was known as trebet or corbelled.
Between the 8th and 13th centuries, the Trabeate style was used in the construction of temples, mosques, tombs, and in buildings attached to large stepped wells or baulis.
Then further they started making each and everything in this main form only. Okay, that was the form. In 8th and 13th century also they started using the Trebet form in every temple and every mosque and every tomb, because there they also felt a requirement of different rooms as well. There should be windows and doors. Fine.
There were two technological and stylist developments noticeable from the 12th century, which were accurate form of architecture. In this form of architecture, the weight of the superstructure above the doors and windows was sometimes carried by the archers.
You can see on the top arches, because before this, what do we call, before the 12th century, that was not added into the construction part. Fine. Definitely if we will be practicing, we will be add upon more things है ना, into everything. If we are learning anything, if we will be doing practice on the daily basis, है ना, we will explore that, we will do in a different innovative ways. So in the same sense, there were a huge change that was called the accurate form of architecture. During that time in the 12th century, later on they started what? In this form of architect, the weight of the superstructure above the doors and windows was sometimes carried by arches. See, you can see on the top side there are arches. Fine. And सारा जो weight है ऊपर का, that is completely on that particular arch. Fine. Not on the beams only. Fine.
In an arch, a keystone bears the weight of the superstructure and transfers the weight to the base of the arch.
You can see here as well, same sense.
Increased use of limestone cement in construction. This
First change was that they started making the arch, and whole of the base was not getting like weight. That arch also started getting the weight of the whole the topmost building. Then what was the second add upon to this in the 12th century? Increased use of limestone cement in the construction. They started adding the limestones, because with that we could make a solid building. Fine. Just see.
was of high quality. It hardened into concrete when mixed with stone chips. It made the construction of large structures easier and faster.
Fine. One thing that was the more reliable. Fine. The limestone, if that will get crushed with the concrete or with the stone chips, definitely that is going to improve the quality of the building, and that was also easier and faster. Okay.
Let us now check our understanding. Question 1.
Yes, whatever we have read, we have done till yet. Just see the question and answer for the same. Okay.
Which style was used in the construction between the 8th and 13th century?
Yes. Can anybody reply that which style was used in the construction between the 8th and 13th century? We have now only done this. Which? Right. You are very much near to the answer. Just see the answer.
Centuries. Answer. Between the 8th and 13th centuries, the Trabeate style was used in the construction of temples, mosques,
Fine. This can come in one word question answers as well. Then you have to just answer the Trebet style was used in the construction. Okay.
tombs, and in buildings attached to large stepped wells or baulis.
Second question is,
Why was limestone used in construction of large structure?
yes, what was the reason behind that? That after 12th century, in the 12th century, they started using limestone in the construction of large structures. What was the reason behind that? Yes, that could make easier and faster, right?
Answer: limestone was very high quality cement which, when mixed with stone chips, hardened into concrete. This made construction of large structures easier and faster.
Clear?
Now, let us learn how their temples, mosques, and tanks were built.
Yes, now in this we are just going to see that how that was constructed, that temples, mosque and the tanks, okay?
Constructing temples and mosques. In the medieval period, kings constructed places of worship for two reasons.
Right, lastly also in the last para also we have done this, that kings constructed places of worship for two reasons. Do you remember both these reasons? Right, right, just see.
Firstly, to showcase their wealth, power, and devotion to God, and secondly, to earn the gratitude of their subjects by building for them areas of use, comfort, and need.
Remember, no? First reason was to showcase their wealth. The king used to show their wealth and power and devotion to God by constructing places of worship and temples. And what was the another reason? Second reason was to earn the gratitude of their subjects. है ना? If their subjects, the people, the public will give praise to that particular king, definitely he will be feeling good and he will be going to construct more things for comfort level of the public. Okay.
A temple complex represented the real world order about how the ruler controlled the allies and the subordinates. Muslims didn't believe in idealization and strongly believed that God is the greatest architect. Mosques were symmetrical structures showcasing their ability to bring about order and symmetry from chaos.
You can see mosques were symmetrical structures showcasing their ability to bring about order and symmetry from chaos. You can see any kind of mosque that will be in a same order. Fine, all the mosques are made into the same sense, है ना? In the same symmetrical order. Wheresoever you will see any mosque, just see the different. You will not find any kind of difference because that was the idealization of the belief of the Muslim people. Fine, that just only God is the good architect and we just don't want to make any chaos by creating different windows, by creating different rooms. So everywhere you can see the same mosques. Okay.
As each new ruler wished to prove his worth, he would build bigger and grander temples and mosques. As these structures were a symbol of a king's power and wealth, they were the first places to be attacked by an enemy.
See, as further we are going to study, we have done the engineering skills and constructions as well, and the second was that building temples, mosques and tanks as well. So now, why were temples targeted? Now we are going to do this on page number 65 in your book. So as each new ruler wished to prove his worth, definitely if I give you an example of a prime minister, है ना, any new prime minister, if he or she has appointed, definitely they are going to show anything new into their innovative ideas. Why? Just to show their power, their intelligence, right? In the same sense, a king used to make during that time, because these were only the signs to show their power, just to show their intelligence, just to show their wealth and how much prestigious that particular king is. So that's why they used to construct different places of worship and different places of I would say temples. Fine. So the another kingdom people who used to attack onto that particular area, they will definitely first going to attack only the temples, the places of worship, because that is only the sign of power of a king. So firstly they will be going to ruin that. Okay.
Some temples and mosques had tanks in their premises, such as the Golden Temple and the Jami.
You have seen, है ना? You all have seen the Golden Temple. So in Golden Temple, there are you can see some temples and mosques had tanks in their premises. You have seen a large pond into that, है ना? That is a tank only. Okay, and in the Jami Masjid too.
Masjid. Kings attacking places of worship used to send a message to the subjects that if the old ruler could not protect his own god, he was fit to rule them no more.
Okay.
Let us now check
So this para also it's completed. So let's see about your knowledge, what you have learned. So first question is,
our understanding. Question 1. Why temples and mosques were beautifully constructed? Answer. Temples and mosques were beautifully constructed because they were places of worship. Constructing places of worship provided rulers with the chance to proclaim their close relationship with God.
right? What was the reason? You can write your own answer as well. That why temples and mosques were beautifully constructed. So you can make your own answer. Okay.
Why were temples destroyed? As temples were a depiction of a ruler's power and wealth, so when other kingdoms used to attack another kingdom, they used to destroy the temple and
Ultimately destroy ruler's power, as I have already made it clear thrice, right? So this is the reason that why the people used to target only the temples first. You can see, just go through this. There is a little para, and into that it is written that some examples are there. The Sena one, the Buddhist monk, and the chronicles. That is a Dhammakiti noted. So he removed all the valuables. Means there are some examples of kings that who destroyed what. Fine, which temple was destroyed by which king and which year also it is written. So the statue of the Buddha made entirely of gold in the Jewel place. So Jewel place was the place it came into that. Starting summarize as well, the Jewel place they used to spoil because that was completely filled with lot of jewelry. And why that was completely filled with the jewelry? Because king of that particular time has to show the power, that how much rich I am, how much power I have, how much wealth I have. Fine. So these are the reasons. Just go through this para. So definitely we are going to discuss about this, and I'll be going to ask you that who was the king who destroyed in this particular region, and what was the reason behind that, to whom he had destroyed. Okay, mainly you have to keep it in mind that why the people used to destroy the temples, because just to ruin the power and wealth of that particular king. Fine.
as they ultimately destroyed rulers' power. For example, Pandyan king Srimara Srivallabha invaded Sri Lanka and defeated the Jewel Palace. He then proceeded to destroy monasteries and seize all the golden images from the palace.
Fine. From that palace, from the Jewel palace, he just took each and everything, the golden images and every kind of jewelry whichever was available there. Fine. So this was the chapter till why were temples targeted. Now further we are going to move towards gardens, tombs, and yes, Pache. So now we are going to discuss about our next para, that is gardens, tombs, and forts. So I hope you understood the last one. So it is also very easy. Just see.
We shall now discuss about the construction of gardens, tombs, and forts. As mentioned in Baburnama, Babur's autobiography, Babur enjoyed planning the layout of gardens called as Chahar Bagh.
Right, you have read this now into last chapter, I think. Baburnama. What was Baburnama? That was Babur's autobiography. Babur enjoyed planning the layout of gardens called as Chahar Bagh. Chahar Baghs means four gardens. Char in that Hindi. Fine. Char Baghs meant four gardens, as they were symmetrically divided into four smaller parts. You can see in this last picture. Can you see here? Right. So these four gardens are divided into equal four parts. That's why that was known as Chahar Baghs. Fine. So let's see further.
Which translates to four gardens as they were symmetrically divided into four smaller parts. Mughal kings like Akbar, Jahangir, and Shah Jahan built beautiful char baghs in Kashmir, Delhi, and Agra.
Fine. During that time, where they constructed these char baghs. These char baghs are there in Kashmir, Delhi, and Agra too. Okay.
Humayun's tomb in Delhi, built during Akbar's reign, was placed between huge formal char baghs.
Okay. Humayun's tomb. What is a tomb? A tomb is a place where, suppose if anybody used to at that time, and even in some castes nowadays also, if one particular person used to got passed away, then his or her that dead body used to dug into the ground, and onto the top they used to make something like this. That was called a tomb. So Humayun's tomb in Delhi, built during Akbar's reign, was placed between huge formal charbags. Okay.
Humayun's tomb was built in the tradition known as the Eight Paradises or Hasht Bihisht, meaning a central hall surrounded by 8 rooms.
Okay, so Humayun's tomb was built in the tradition known as the Eight Paradise. What is meaning by that Eight Paradise or Hasht Bishti? Meaning a central hall surrounded by 8 rooms. There will be a central. There is a central hall you can see on the top tomb, है ना? There is one central hall, and out of that is surrounded by 8 rooms. That was known as Eight Paradise. Okay.
A central dome and a tall gateway called Pishtah, a Persian influence, became a part of Mughal architecture.
Okay.
The reign of Shah Jahan is considered to be the golden age of Mughal architecture. The riverfront garden in the layout of the Taj Mahal in Agra is recognized as the grandest masterpiece of Shah Jahan's reign.
Fine, that is the masterpiece of Shah Jahan's reign. As you all have heard about, or definitely you went to, है ना? Have you ever visited Taj Mahal? So that is the masterpiece of during that time, Taj Mahal in Agra, that is placed and Shah Jahan's main building, the masterpiece.
The nobles in Agra constructed their garden palaces on the riverbanks of the Yamuna. Shah Jahan also built the walled city of Shahjahanabad in Delhi with the Red Fort as its center.
So you might have heard about both these buildings, fine. So one is the Taj Mahal, another one that is constructed in the Red Fort as its center, Delhi.
The audience halls resembled a mosque and were placed within a large courtyard known as Chihil Sutun or 40-pillared halls.
This is called a 40 pillars hall, where people used to assemble there for any assembly, for any that was known as the audience hall. You can see so many people are sitting into that, fine. So that is known as the Chilil Sutun or the 40 pillared halls, because the pillars in counting those were 40. That is why that is also known as the 40 pillared halls, and that is known as a audience hall. If any of the subjects they are facing any kind of issue, any problem, just to keep in the convenience of king, they used to gather here. Okay.
The pedestal on which Shah Jahan's throne was placed was referred to as the Qibla, the direction that the Muslims face at the time of prayer.
What is a Qibla? That is a direction when Muslim used to sit to pray. Fine, that is called as the Qibla.
Was an architectural reminder to indicate that the king was a representative of God on earth. Behind the emperor's throne, there are a series of Pietra Dura inlays in the audience hall. Pietra Dura is an art of colored hard stone, which are exquisitely cut to create beautiful ornate patterns.
You can see here, yes, you can see here Pietra Dura. This is an art of colored hard stone. With the colored hard stone, they used to give different kinds of shapes, either on the stairs or on the top, anywhere. Okay, they can build any beautiful construction with the hard stones. Fine. So behind the emperor's throne, empress की जो throne होती थी, राजा की जो throne होती थी, there are a series of Pietra Dura analysis in the audience hall. You can see, है ना, these are the colored stone and the hard stone.
Let us now check our understanding.
Yes, whatever you understood, let's see. Question 1.
Question 1. What are the elements of a Mughal Charbagh garden? Answer. Mughal
Charbagh. What is meaning by that? What are the Charbagh? 4 gardens, right?
Charbagh garden consisted of 4 gardens. These gardens are placed within rectangular walled enclosures and divided into 4 quarters by artificial channels.
Fine. Next one is?
Next is region and empire.
So this is the last topic of our chapter. See carefully. I hope you understood the last one. Very easy are there. So
Vijayanagara. The elephant stables at this place were strongly influenced by the architectural styles in the adjoining sultanates of Bijapur and Golconda.
So you can see Vijayanagara. Into this, what is the meaning of region and empire? That what were the further regions and empire of that particular time period? So in this, firstly, we are going to discuss about the Vijayanagara, the elephant stables. You can see the elephant stables in the last to last chapter. Also, we have discussed about this. These were strongly influenced by the architecture style. Elephant stable, that is the style of construction of the buildings. Fine. So during that timing, after the medieval period, they started constructing these types of buildings. How? By the architecture styles is the adjoining sultanates of Bijapur and Golconda. Bijapur or Golconda ka, that was the mixture for that. Okay, Vijayanagara.
Vrindavan. Here,
Definitely, you all have visited to Vrindavan and you have seen the different monuments, different temples of that. So that is also during that time's constructions. Okay, so temples were constructed in architectural style, which were very similar to the Mughal palaces at Fatehpur Sikri. If you will visit to Fatehpur Sikri and if you will visit to Vrindavan, you can feel the same scenario there.
were constructed in architectural styles which were very similar to the Mughal palaces of Fatehpur Sikri.
Okay.
When different regions were brought under one large empire, this cross-fertilization of artistic forms and architectural styles took place. The Mughals and architectural style adaptation. They were particularly skilled in adapting architectural styles in their own.
So this is further the Mughal and architectural style adaptation, means from different region and different empires they used to adapt the different styles just to improve their innovation. Okay, so this is what they were particularly skilled in adapting architectural style in their own building construction. They start first doing it, adapting it by their own constructions.
For instance, in Bengal, the local rulers had developed a roof that was designed to resemble a thatched roof.
You can say resembled it is, right?
This Bangla dome was liked by the Mughals to such an extent that they used it in their architecture.
Fine. So whenever they feel they see any different kinds of architectural design, so they used to construct it in their own buildings. Fine. You can see here this Bangla dome was liked by Mughal when one Mughal, they used to visit anywhere into any another kingdom, into any another areas, where whatsoever they find that this is beautiful, they start constructed it in their own kingdoms. Okay.
The impact of other regions was also noticeable. Many buildings in Akbar's capital, Fatehpur Sikri, showed the influence of the architectural styles of Gujarat and Malwa.
Then once when they visited to Gujarat and Malwa, they liked the buildings very much. Then they started constructed into the Fatehpur Sikri. Fine, just to show the different innovation and because of their liking for the different monuments.
In spite of the waning of the authority of Mughal rulers in the 18th century, the architectural styles developed under their patronage were constantly used and adapted by other rulers whenever they tried to establish their own kingdoms. Let us now check around.
Fine. So what is there basically we have studied into this chapter is, firstly, again I am going to tell you, firstly we have discussed about the engineering skills and constructions, that what were the engineering skills, how they started moving and taking adaptation of the further innovation, है ना. In the 10th century there was something else, in the 7th century they added upon more, and in the 12th century they added upon more, then the medieval period they changed it completely, and wherever they visited in the different places they adapted all these ways of constructions. Fine, just to satisfy their liking for the different monuments and the buildings. And further we have studied about buildings, temples, mosques and tanks, and into that we have discussed about the golden temple, about the tanks. Some are the tanks are there in their premises itself. Fine. And further we have discussed why were temples targeted, कि temples को target क्यों किया जाता था, just to show that we are going to ruin your power, है ना, because king used to build that particular monument or place of worship just to show their power and their wealth, है ना. So another king, they used to attack that first just to show that I am going to ruin your power. Fine. Further, we have discussed about the gardens, tombs and forts. Different kinds of shapes were there of tombs. We have discussed about the 4 gardens also. We have discussed about the 8 paradise also. Fine. So further, this is the last we have discussed reign and empire. So what were the reign and what were the empire? So what you have understood by this? Just see, give me the answer of this question.
Question 1. What is the special feature of Akbar's capital at Fatehpur Sikri?
What was the special feature? क्या था फतेहपुर सीकरी का special feature क्या था? They have started making different kind of buildings. They adapted some architectural designs. So see.
Answer. In Akbar's capital at Fatehpur Sikri, many of the buildings show the influence of the architectural styles of Gujarat and Malwa.
So they adapted Gujarat and Malwa's architectural designs. Okay.
Let us now summarize the
So this was all about your chapter. As in the starting we have discussed about the summarized points and that what we were going to study into this chapter, it is the same only. So hope you understood the chapter well. So definitely we are going to discuss further about all the question answers into our online class as well, and I am sharing the PDF for your question answers as well. But before that, just try to do all the question answers by your own, because these are the easiest one. You can definitely can search, can find each and everything into your book only. So try to do your related book work, question answers, whatever is there. Okay. So take care everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy.